Welcome to The Art of Being Unstoppable, the podcast where we will go beyond the ordinary and embrace the extraordinary. Be part of down-to-earth, no BS conversations where we will explore hot topics on love and money, relationships and business, beauty, and who we get to be with all that shit in between. With our insights and your actions, let's be unstoppable together. Let's go.
Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of The Art of Being Unstoppable. Tina and I have a lot of things going on, don't we, Tina?
We sure do. Lots of good things.
Lots of good things. And things are going to look a little differently around here for us. I'm not going to get emotional. So let's start by just saying, okay, so The Art of Being Unstoppable is going to be shifting a little bit moving forward. Tina and I'm still going to be doing the podcast on a weekly basis, and I'm going to be bringing on some more guests. Tina's going to be a special guest on the podcast now, and we're going to be talking a little bit more about that moving forward. But we're not breaking up. No one has anything to talk about. We don't hate each other. We love each other, just to put that out there. But, I think with growth comes change. And with change comes uncomfortable times. And Tina and okay. As you all know, Tina started off being my coach and we became friends. And I did my first live this year, I believe. Was it this year or the end of last year? Yeah. And scared to death. Honest to God, scared to death. And one of the girls that works with me, helping me with marketing and social media, she's always like, you got to do more lives. You got to get out there. I'm like, yeah, I hear you. And it was a big thing for me. It was hard for me to just sit and talk. And with Tina and I on here, we can talk. We're talking to each other. We're looking at each other. We're talking with each other, and it's comfortable. But that's going to shift a little bit because I'm going to start doing some episodes on my own. I'm going to have some guests on as well. And Tina's going to be still coming on the podcast, but not every week as we've been doing this past. I think we're on our 46th or 47th episode, which I think, friends, honestly, you have no idea the statistics about this though, right, Tina? Most people only record a few episodes and then they give up. And, I don't want to give up because I believe that I can see this going in a direction that will really help and support women all over the world, put in the right hands. And that's kind of what our goal is. But so for me, I've been working on my inner beauty coaching business for the last few years. And I've been shifting and changing and shifting and changing. And the last probably 3 or 4 months, Tina and I had a lot to talk about going forward with, where I was at, what was holding me back. And yet she kicks my ass. She does. She kicks me in the butt when I need it.
Lovingly, of course.
Of course. Absolutely. But, I did get a little stuck in the grief of losing my parents again. And that was, I think, because my go was the word after my parents died. I had so much to do being the only child and the only person to take care of everything. I kind of lost myself in that and started working on myself, but still kind of pushing down the things that I didn't want to have come to the surface yet. And so I've been working through a lot of stuff, which has then shifted my way of doing business as well. I want to really kind of maybe, I don't know if this makes sense, but Tina, when I first met you, you were helping women with their confidence and becoming unstoppable. And I'm thinking now you're going into, and I'll let Tina explain that, into this little bit of a different space, but we're still going to be doing things together because, I think we're a pretty badass team and I couldn't imagine not doing projects with Tina, but moving forward, it will be Vicki's doing the podcast pretty much solely with guests, and Tina will be obviously a part of that. But I'd like to be able to have women on that have really good stories to tell that, may have been through hard times or good times. But I think that the more we share, the more women can see themselves in each other and then become unstoppable, regardless of what is put in our way, what roadblocks, what, shitstorms we go through, because I do believe that we all have them. And it's all in who we get to be and how we get to navigate through them to get on the other side of them, but we have to go through them. And that was something that Tina has definitely helped me with. And now that I've got a little bit more confidence in myself and being able to stand, in and do lives and do things on my own. I'm feeling a little bit more powerful in that. And so, yeah, I just wanted to kind of start this conversation with that and explaining and let Tina talk as well about us, just because two people kind of go in a different way doesn't mean we're separating and we're going in totally different places and that we have any ill um towards each other. We still love each other. So I'm gonna, stop there before I get a little bit too weepy over here, and I'll let Tina kind of jump in.
Well, we always talk about we're on this journey too. We're learning, we're growing, and in the last year, as I've shared on this podcast, I've been deep diving into Kabbalah, really focusing on being present, listening for where I should be going and what I should be giving to the world and what's the sharing that I'm supposed to offer. And in that process, I realized that there was a pattern that showed up for me. And my pattern is when I first started growing my coaching business, uh, I did a women's talk, a women's conference. And after that, I mean, it was just incredible. I was scared shitless. I'm on this stage and I was actually, I wanted to be a speaker at this conference. And I was told I couldn't be a speaker. But then I just went out and then I started sharing. And then the lady said, well, do you want to be the MC? In that event, I got up on stage, which was a scary thing for me. And I just shared. I shared stories about the women that were speakers. I shared their life. I shared them as human beings. And that event, I didn't realize at the time, but I see now was a catalyst for what I am doing is I want to share. I want business owners to be able to share their story in a way that has people put their hand up and say, I want to work with you. And, so the pattern that I saw for myself was that I had a story playing in the background that I'm not good enough alone and I need to partner with people. And in doing that, I was hiding unconsciously. So I worked with this woman, Jessica, and that broke down. And then my business was going well, and I partnered with high performing coach, and then that broke down. And then I was on my own, and it was going really well. And then I partnered with Adrian and linked coach, and then here I am now, I'm thinking, okay, there is a clear pattern. Wherever there's a pattern, there's a story. Every time I was successful on my own, there was something that pulled me back, my ego saying, no, that's just a fluke. You can't really do it on your own. And, Vicki and I have been working together and we built this podcast and I love Vicki. I love being with her. Vicki has been my comfort zone. Vicki talks me up. Vicki's the one that when my ego wants to hijack me to say I'm not good enough, I can't do it. She's like, that's not true. That's not true. But in doing my spiritual work the past year, I've really started seeing the patterns and started seeing the impact of my ego and listening for what I need to do next. And so I said to Vicki, this was a stepping stone. This was supposed to be part of our path, but it wasn't supposed to be, we're not supposed to take this journey together. And what Vicki wants to give to the world, what Vicki's giving to the world is so valuable. It's helping women, discover that confidence, that voice, take those actions. And I always thought that I didn't want to work with coaches and entrepreneurs and service providers. And I wanted to just help women too. But I realized, no, all the things that I've been through in my life on my spiritual journey, my entrepreneurial journey, I want to work with entrepreneurs. I want to work with women in business. I want to help them elevate their voice, develop their personal brands, find their story, and be able to make a bigger impact that way. I still want to do personal coaching, but we realized we're talking to two different people. And not that that's a bad thing, but my heart and everything was saying, there's something different, and I don't know what it is for me yet. It hasn't fully brewed because
Yeah.
I know I
Yeah.
wanna interview people too, but the interview would be a little bit different, and we just felt we don't wanna confuse our audience. We want to
Mm-mm.
attract the right audience that's going to get value, and the value that we're adding is different. And so for me, um that was a big realization that I'm actually holding Vicky back. That was, and I know Vicky's like, "No, no, no, it's not true." I'm like, "No, it is because we're going off on two different paths
Yeah.
and we don't want to confuse the audience." So, we
And
thought,
we also, and I mean, and when I say this, I don't mean this in any negative. We don't want to hold each other back either, because our growth is just as important for ourselves. And we're growing in different ways. And that's okay because we still have what we have together. It's not anything that's going to be taken away. But when we can grow on our own too,
mhm.
what we get to give each other is even richer than what we could even imagine if we're just staying in where we are. And growth is important. And, I don't believe that we're growing apart. I believe that this garden's going to be beautiful and it's going to be full.
Oh, exactly. And I believe that too. And um last episode we were talking about the work. And the work for me is to fully come out of hiding.
Yeah.
I hid behind Landmark, I hid behind business partners, I hid behind other personal brands because in my mind, when you struggle with worthiness and deservability, and I know this is a really funny story I'll share with you guys. Years ago, when I was on my own growing my coaching business, uh, my husband at the time and my kids, we went to Washington, D.C. on a family vacation. And so we stepped outside of our hotel. And I don't know if I've even shared this story with you, Vicky. Maybe I
No, you
have. I've
haven't.
shared a story. So the girls are like, "Can we go to Starbucks? Can we go to Starbucks?" I'm like, "Really? We're in Washington, D.C., and you guys want to go to Starbucks for breakfast? What the heck?" And so I'm like, "Guys, let's go to a nice restaurant." "No, we want to go to Starbucks." I'm like, "Okay." So we walk into this Starbucks and there's this barista that meets us at the door. She's like, "Hello, welcome to Starbucks. I'm so glad you're here today." I was like, "Whoa, she's a little chipper." But she's like, "What can I get for you, beautiful girls?" And she was just so large and like her personality was larger than life. And she was just beaming this radiance, right? So we made our order. And I said, "Listen, I want to write you a review. Who do I need to talk to? Do I need to write it on head office? Like, where can I write you a review? Because I've
Yes.
never had this experience at a Starbucks in my life." And she said, "Oh, you can just write a review for me on Facebook." So I said, "Okay, give me your name." I could not find her. I said, "I don't know where you are." And I said, "Find me on Facebook and then send me a friend request and then I'll have you." So I said, and she's like, "Okay." So she opens up her phone and I said, "Tina Marie Brigley." She stops and she looks at me. She goes, "Tina Marie Brigley? Like from Canada Brigley?" I'm like, "Yeah." She started shaking. She goes, "I follow you. I follow you." I'm like, "What?" She's like, "You've been my angel. I follow your journey. I know that you are a teacher." In that moment, I should have been really excited. Here I am in Washington, D.C., and somebody recognized me,
Yeah.
but I didn't realize that that actually scared the shit out of me because now I was no longer that little, 12-year-old girl that was bullied hiding in the bathroom, which I learned to do. Don't be seen, be like everybody else,
Yeah.
blend in.
Yeah.
I was being noticed in another country. And that felt really uncomfortable, and I didn't realize in that moment I made a decision that you shouldn't show up like that. Now, it doesn't even make sense, but again, that wasn't my soul. My soul was saying, "Keep speaking,
Yeah.
keep
Yeah.
shining."
Yeah.
But what did I do right after that? I joined High Performing Coach. I hid behind that brand. I was not Tina Brigley coaching. I was always too afraid because If HPC doesn't work, or linked coach doesn't work, or the art of being unstoppable doesn't work, that's not Tina Brigley failing. you know?
Yes.
But
Yep.
in my mind, I'm a winner and I don't want to lose. And so I wouldn't play games where there is a potential of losing. And that's another story that I discovered. you know, but
Yeah.
I in my personal work, right? Like when my dad tried to commit suicide, I heard the teacher say, "Oh, that poor girl, she doesn't have a chance." And in that moment, I made a decision. I'm not a loser like my dad. Not that my dad's a loser, but in that
No.
moment, he was like, you want to give up on your life? Um, but so I decided that I needed to win everything. And if I couldn't be the best, I didn't want to put myself out there in that
Yeah.
profound way because
Yeah.
I didn't want to be a loser. And failing meant losing. But if I fail at a product launch or I fail at, hiding behind HPC, that's okay. But if Tina Brigley shows up and Tina Brigley does a workshop and people don't come to, I made a decision that it's because they don't like me. That's not the truth. But my ego was saying, no, 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 you don't
Yeah.
want to do
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Now that I see this, now I get to be responsible. The work is follow your true path even though it feels uncomfortable, even
Yeah.
though it's uncertain, even though you
Yeah.
don't know what the future has in store for you. But all of these things that I've experienced in my life have brought me here to this moment of you need to shine on your own. And that doesn't mean that I'm not going to partner with people or lift
No.
people up or collaborate, but I need to build my brand for the first time consistently in 7 years
Yeah.
without going backwards, and I don't believe that any of those situations have been failures
Oh, no.
or, setbacks. They've been set ups for this right
Yeah.
here, and I get to follow that guidance even though it's really scary for me, coming out and saying, "I wanna be known as a storyteller. I wanna be known as the person who can help pull your stories out." That scares the shit out of me, but it also excites me.
Exactly. And you know what, Tina? Honestly, I remember when we had this conversation and it was like, you know, the old version of Vicky would have been, "Oh, well, I'm not good enough. I'm this, I'm that. I get it. You don't want to work with me." All of those things. I never felt that once. And why didn't I feel that was because something's been telling me you got to do this on your own. You got to do this on your own. You got to do this on your own. And I was like, oh no, 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 no. Tina and I, it's good. It works because we have each other. And again, if we fail together. It's not just me. Same things. It's all of that going on in the background because we don't want to be failures. I stayed in my first marriage longer than I should have because I didn't want to be a failure. I kept my first business for longer than I needed to because I didn't want to fail, not
Mm,
because of any other reason. If I closed classic recreations, that meant I failed. No, it
mm,
didn't. It meant I just moved on to a different chapter. Maybe it was a different book altogether. It doesn't mean you fail. But the moment that you start realizing it's not about pleasing everybody else all the time, it's about really and truly loving yourself and pleasing you first, because if we don't do that, we're no good to anyone else. And that is a fact. I need
mm,
to make sure Vicky is happy. I need to make sure that I am in a place where I feel perfect, whole, and complete. Not that I feel like, oh, I'm missing something or I need to have Tina or I need to have. No, it's a want. I want to be able to meet women and support them and let their stories be told, and you're going to help them build their stories. And that's what this is about. Like, I want them to be able to be out there. I want to help them get through their shit storms because we've all had them. And by standing behind a chair for almost 40 years, I let people's stories be told in my chair. They got to share who they were authentically with me with no judgment. They just got to share who they were. And now I can do that on a grander scale. And
what I just
that
heard in
lights me
sharing,
up.
Vicky, which is crazy, I just had an aha moment in your sharing. It's like you give people the confidence to share their stories, and I get them when they have the confidence and they're like, "Tell me how to share my story." So
Exactly.
it's like that's why we will always have this synergy, right? Like we're always going
Absolutely.
to be sharing, contributing. It's like a continuation almost,
Yes.
And so I think what was happening is, um, where are we getting people in their journey?
Yeah.
So Vicky's getting them at the beginning of like, give me the confidence to be able to make this choice, to be able to step into the next chapter. And I was like, okay, you stepped into the next chapter. Now let's get you out there with velocity. So
Yes.
sorry to cut you off, Vicky, but I just like
No,
when you said that, I was like,
I
oh,
love
this
it.
is why
It's
we need to
yes.
separate.
Yes,
Like
absolutely. And
this.
when I met you, I was starting a different chapter in my life. And that's where you
Yeah.
actually took me. You took me on this journey. You got me here because you believed in me and I took it on. I did the work. And I saw
Mhm.
people in my life change because of it. I saw the ripple effect that happened in my own life with the people, my children, my friends, my family. I got to see it firsthand. So I know what's possible, but you gave me that. So now I get to give that away, and then they get to be able to share it with the world through you. And that's what this is about. It isn't a competition. And I think that we often look at it like that. Like when I had my salon, I didn't care about any other salon and what they were doing. I never talked about other salons. I never compared myself to other salons. The only person that I was trying to be better than was my old version. I just wanted to keep being better at what my craft was. Take more classes, learn more, do more. That's what I wanted to do because that's how I created the clientele that I had. And I
Yes.
got to give that away to all the girls that worked with me. And they all got
Mhm.
to go on and be the best that they could be and open their own salons or do whatever they chose to do because I believed in them. So if I can do
Mhm.
that on a grander scale, that's all I want to do is be able to have women see that they have the potential to be whoever they choose to be at whatever capacity. And I think that that's what's important. And sometimes our voices get quieted because the other person is growing too, right? So we give and take, and that's okay. But we're both blossoming here. We're both creating something that is bigger than ourselves. And it isn't about who's going to do better or who's going to do more. It's about, girlfriend, I need it. Okay, talk me off the ledge. And you can. And I can do the same because when you had said this, and I've watched you since I've met you, I've watched you on this journey. And I believe that you've taken every path the right way to bring you to be Tina fucking Brigley, because that's what I've said that you are. And you said you would say to me, I wish I could see myself the way you do. And I said, you can. You get to see yourself that way because that's who you are. That's who you are to the people that you have come into their lives. You have created something for people that they got to see their own worth. And then you taught me how I get to do that too.
And thank you for saying that, Vicky. And, for me, it was like, it's not that I ever doubted who I am.
No.
What was missing is clarity of what is the thing that sets me apart. And I
Yes.
knew that I was a good coach and I knew I could have profound breakthroughs. But there's a lot of good coaches and there's a lot of people that can coach breakthroughs. But like,
Absolutely.
what is the thing that I want to like, what is the thing that I wanna give away? What is the thing that I want to be known for? What makes me different? What makes me
Yeah.
unique? And I feel like I never had that clarity. Like, I didn't really know, but all of these situations have been guiding me to see it and discover it for myself. And what
Yes.
happens is we can't speed up that process, and nobody can help us speed up that process. It
No.
is a discovery, and that's why I say embrace the journey because the journey is the gift,
Yes.
like everything, the
Absolutely.
partnering and doing this and doing that and da, 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 it's all been leading me to here. But if somebody would have said to me, you're going to do this and n- I had to buy into it myself. I had to see it for myself. And so now I know that I'm on the right path. And this is why I know that I'm on the right path. Because somebody said to me last week, okay, so you're venturing off, you're going to help people build their signature talk and share their message and build their personal brand through storytelling. What if it doesn't work? Like, what if you can't make a living doing this? And you know what my knee-jerk, non-ego reaction was? I'll sell everything to make a difference. I'll do whatever it takes to make sure that other people's voices are elevated. I
Yeah.
will give up everything for what I believe in, for what I think the world needs right now. I am willing to put my ass on the line in a big, profound way so that other people can elevate their voice. So I'm like, so that's what I would do. I
Yeah.
will find a way to make this work not just for me, but for the
Yeah.
world.
Yep.
And that's the
Yep.
conviction that I have going in. I see, I see the string. I see how my TED Talk, I tried and tried and tried and tried to figure it out. It came to me at 1:11 in the morning, in the middle of the night, through a dream. I wrote it. It was exactly 18 minutes.
Yeah.
I see things that happen in my life. The little whisper to go check on my friend when he was trying to commit
Yeah.
suicide, and I
Yeah.
got there just in time to get there. Or the car accident where if I wasn't at that scene, the car would have blown up and other people would have died. I see that I'm being guided. I don't know how it's gonna unfold, but I can't ignore the whispers anymore.
No.
I
No.
can't ignore the things that happen to me. I can't ignore the dreams that tell me I'm on the right track. I have to follow it. So, what am I gonna do to follow my dream? Whatever the fuck it takes. I don't even
Exactly.
care. I
Exactly.
will risk failing over and
Yep.
over and over again until people have the courage to share their story.
Yep.
Like, that's really the energy that I'm in right now.
Yep.
Not because I have something to prove, not because
Yep.
my ego says this is gonna be a multi-million dollar, no,
Yeah.
because I'm clear now. After 7 years of trying to find my way, I can see the path now.
Yep.
So it's not that I doubted my self-worth or who I am. I just wasn't clear about what is the thing I'd be willing to die for.
Yeah. Yeah.
And now I am.
Yeah. And that's
And
what it's
it's
about, right? That
crazy.
is what this life is about, this journey. It is about the journey. And you're not making anybody wrong for the things that have happened. You're not making yourself wrong. You're allowing yourself to grow. You're allowing yourself to blossom into this place that you want to be. That's how I feel. I feel like that. I
Mhm.
don't feel like us going in a little bit of a different direction is not a good thing. I believe that this journey is exactly the way it is supposed to be. I hear that. I never quieted myself before to listen. I learned that in with Kabbalah and with listening and you and learning to quiet my mind rather than having to, what else do I have to do? Oh my God, can I question, question, question? No, no, no. I don't have to keep questioning. I just get to be with it and create it because people will come. Those people that are you're meant to be with. I read I wanted to just share this quickly. Client that I had given away a month free coaching earlier this year. And I had put out there that if you, and I had people reach out, oh, I'd love it. I'd love it. Then I had someone reach out to me and say, I have a really good friend that I think that would really benefit from this. Would you pick her? And she gave me a little bit and I said, absolutely. So I did. So I worked with this girl for 4 weeks and she sent me this beautiful message and I just want to read it. I won't read the whole thing, but I will read a little bit of it. But she was just talking to me about how, um, she went into Starbucks and she said there was at least 10 people standing in line. So your Starbucks story. So this is crazy, but the young 20 something guy was making drinks like nobody's business, clearly in robot mode. He was setting the drinks down and calling out names with no eye contact, no emotion, no personality. She said, for a moment, I felt sad for him. He finally set ours down and called out our names. And I said, thanks, Aiden. Because she read his name tag, right? I said, thanks, Aiden. He looked at me quizzically and I said, thanks again. And I also said, I appreciate him and I hope that his day is bucket filling. He paused and smiled at me, and he had eye contact. When we left, her partner asked her, like, how did you know his name? And she said, I had his tag. She was present in the moment. My point is, people want to be noticed. They want recognition in her opinion. Sure, they're getting paid to make the drinks or do whatever we do, right? We're getting paid to do what we do. But we lose sight of the fact that they're still people with lives, with trials and tribulations, and a little bit of humanity goes a long way. And then she said, I'm so grateful for you, for your time spent with me. It was life-changing. I'm not saying that because I'm not just saying that because I would never. Your time spent with me has changed my outlook. I hear your voice often, and I thank you for being the light and guidance when I needed it the most. And it was at the most perfect time too, I might add, to live the second half of my life so fully and unregretfully. I live with intention now. Thanks, Miss Vicki. I owe you so
Right.
much. And I had a
And
team meeting with the girls this morning, and I said to them, that is the reason I do what I do. Because if she can, she's now changed someone's life. He's now feeling recognized, right? And that's what this is about for me.
and your story, people might forget everything we said on this podcast, but they will not forget Aiden, and they will not forget the look on his face when he was acknowledged and somebody said his name, because stories like this are what makes the world go round.
Yeah,
And, I want to acknowledge you for the impact that you're making out in the world. You had the courage to take yourself on so that you could have a better relationship with your husband, to let go of grief, to be a better mom, to be a better friend. You took it on and you created so much ripple just in your inner circle. People wondering, what are you doing differently?
yeah,
Like, you're so different. Like, your energy. It was never about you. It was always about what you could give back. So the work that we do isn't for us, it's to make the world a better place, and
absolutely.
I have never met anyone who's taken it on with velocity as much as you. Like, literally, I know you said this earlier, maybe another podcast where you're like, I was just like, "Tell me, give
Yeah,
give it all to me." And you were
yeah,
like, you're such a sponge and a demand for coaching, and, um, when we do this kind of work, or when we are willing to just discover things that are in our blind spots, things that we can't see, um, the results are just so life-changing for not just us, but the people around us. And I've seen, like, your clients are transforming generational trauma.
yeah,
Like, they're letting go of epigenetics. Like,
yeah,
the
yeah,
residual stuff that we carry from, if you believe
yeah.
in that, but, like, the energy emotion of trauma. And that, I mean, I don't take that lightly. I
No,
don't, anybody who takes on this work with this kind of velocity, man, it's just not ordinary. It's extraordinary. And if you're listening right now and you know that there's something in your life that has been holding you back, or things that you've had a hard time of letting go, I encourage you to reach out to Vicky and just have a call with her, because that one conversation might be the catalyst that puts you on a totally different path in your life, puts you on the path where you're supposed to be, not where you think you should be.
yeah.
So,
And thank you
so
for that,
amazing.
Tina. I appreciate that. I do. I appreciate
Yeah.
you sharing that. And, and that's why we do this. And that's why we're not separating. We're going to be back together on periodically. And Tina's going to be a part of this because she's up to big things. And I want people to know, and I want you to be able to share your stories because your stories matter, and they do. They're life changing for me and for our listeners. So thank you again. And this isn't goodbye, but this is till next time. And I
Yeah.
do appreciate you more than I can even say. So thank you for
Oh,
being
you're the
you.
sister. Yeah, thank you. And thank all of you for listening and watching and following our journey. And I'll see you once a month.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I will bring the flame, the fire, and the gold. Let me tell you.
Yes, you will. Thanks, everyone, for listening. And we'll see you next time on The Art of Being Unstoppable. Have a beautiful day.
Bye, everyone.
Well, friends, that is the end of our episode today. If you love this episode, hit the subscribe button so you never miss another episode. And please share us with your friends and tag us on your socials at The Art of Being Unstoppable. So for today, have yourself a beautiful day and let's be unstoppable together. See you next time.